So we just wrapped up filming and I am really excited about how this turned out. I wasn't quite sure. I did some location scouting a couple days ago and I did a bunch of test shots and I was really happy with the final result. So then we're gonna go through a full breakdown of all the gear that we have and just do that just before we wrap up. So first things first, camera A was a Sony FX3 with a 24-105. We were at 50 millimeters. And we had a Cityback V-mount battery, all this, some scratch audio for the XLR audio. And this is what shot a 3-person course interview discussion podcast style for 4 episodes at roughly about 25 minutes. And I love the unlimited recording sort of on the Sony camera, so that's why I opt for this camera system. The other 2 cameras were FX30s, which we had one wide shot. We had one wide shot over here. It was an FX30 with a 16-25 2.8 lens, and with the crop, we were roughly at 24 millimeters, and we had a V-mount battery on this, and this was just showing a little bit more documentary style. I was okay with it showing the lights, the hair lights, even the microphone. I was okay with that because I just wanted to give it that kind of a raw feel, but it was showing this awesome, we're in a vault of just historical artifacts, and this space has almost got, I think, 100,000 pieces of historical American history artifacts. And I just wanted to display everything that was on the background. As you can see, there's some really cool stuff in this room. Camera 3 was on the tight shot, which is basically chest up to here. And this was another FX30 with a V-mount battery. And this is on a Tamron, I think 28-75 millimeters. And I just had another crew member, a friend of mine, here to man this and go through whoever was talking primarily throughout the entire system. So that is the camera system that we had. And then let's go ahead and go take a look at the lights on how we were able to do that. Let's go around this back way. And the Sons of the American Revolution both have very good, so you can see everything. All right, so breaking down the lights, we had a 3-person setup on a flat table, and so they're all basically on the same plane, and they did create some space with the discussion and going in and out. So we decided to go with the Amaran 100Ds, and we did a cross key system just because there was so much space that we needed to fill, and I didn't want to use a giant 5-foot softbox, so that was just my personal choice. You can actually do either one, but as you can see, we had them both up, cross keys, 3-foot softboxes, go into each side and to create enough coverage for all of them. And then for hair lights, we had these tube lights. These were, it was not actually on cyan or blue, but we had these on, I think, 5600 kelvins in whites for hair lights. And then, so that was basically the gist of lighting. We did have to do a little bounce on this side for the speakers just because he was a little bit darker, since this side of the room was on the darker side and everything on the wall was a little bit lighter. Now, I do want to go through just the kind of practicals that we decided to do. So if you follow me over here, we decided to, so we had a ton of control with lighting, and for cinematography and for corporate stuff, I personally recommend that you control the lights. And so you have to turn off everything that is in the room and then start forming up from there the shot that you want and control as much light as you possibly can. So in here we have a system of square lights that we turned off, and then they actually have track lighting in here to show and highlight the artifacts that they have on the walls. And so we turned off about, I'd say about more than half of the track lighting in here, and we actually utilized some of the track lighting for some of the artifacts here. But in this back corner, it was completely dark, and so we used this small rig with a fresnel to illuminate this entire back corner, which it still, I can show you a quick shot of what it looked like, but we illuminated that. It was completely dark and black. And then we utilized another light to, so sometimes with pictures and glass and things like that, you'll get reflections in certain camera angles. And so there was a reflection from some track lighting, so we had to turn the track lighting off, but I still wanted that portion of the wall illuminated. And so we actually used another light over here, another Amaran 100D, to illuminate this side of the wall to make sure that it was still showing on our wide shot that was the camera over here. So I think that's pretty much it. As far as audio, we had a ton of redundancies. We had 2 shotgun microphones, one splitting the 2 speakers here, and then another shotgun microphone on one of the primary speakers over here. We had all three of them laved up as well. We used the DJI Lav Mics Generation 1, and then we also had a Tascam lav mic that was internally recording. The DJIs were internal recording, and then I fed everything into a Zoom H6 external recorder, and that was also recording. And then we just scratch audio from the cameras, which I like having the redundancies for audio, because sometimes I've messed it up on one audio source, and it's been a headache just trying to fix it and make it sound good. So that's just my personal preference, but I personally like shotguns if I had the choice. But in this space, since it is concrete, because it is a vault, basically, it's real, it's all concrete, there was some echo, and so the lav mics I think might do a little bit better, but I think the shotgun sounded really good. I'm probably gonna be using that primarily. Otherwise, I think that was it. I loved the frame. I loved how everything turned out, and I'm super excited to get this in the hands of our client, because this is a really big project for them. They're actually going to be putting it on they're actually going to be putting it on their streaming platform, because this nonprofit does a lot of media, a lot of content, and they have it out there for their audience to actually utilize. And so this is basically a training course for their audience, and it's going to be really cool just to see my product on their streaming platform. So super excited about this, and I'm really happy how it turned out.